Okay, guys. Well, welcome to the new coach Q&A call. I do these calls every other Monday, so just twice a month. However, that could be changing, so stay tuned. Generally, it's a different leader every time, so it's an opportunity for you to learn from other leaders, because sometimes your style might connect with a different leader on the team, and they all have their different great ideas and approaches to the business which you might connect with. So my name is Megan Eggleston. I am the founder of Team Phoenix. So whether I'm your personally sponsored, your upline sponsor, or you're just somewhere in my downline, or you're not, everybody in this call will be within my downline. About 3 years ago, I started the Team Phoenix. And if you're curious about where the team names come from, wait a minute, you're Team Phoenix, but my coach is Stephanie and she's Forever Fitness, and I'm Sarah's coach, she's Team Balance. Well, you decide when you feel like you want to develop your own team culture, when you started to sponsor coaches. And I think it's important. I think it's important at a certain time that, your team identifies with directly to their upline. But when I came on board, my upline wasn't present in the business at all. She wasn't actively working. So I knew that I kind of had to start something. I had to kind of create a culture and just a whole environment for my entire organization. Not that I knew that was going to be anything at the time. I just came on as a hobby coach, as many of you might have found yourself. Actually, I was a discount coach for an entire year. I signed up because I wanted my Shakeology cheaper and programs cheaper. And a year later, I thought, there might actually be something to this. This would really fulfill me in a lot of ways. As a stay-at-home mom, I wanted to be home with the kids. But I was also kind of craving something extra, needing something for me, kind of that, okay, it's time for me to use my brain for something else. So this was kind of started in that way for me. And it just kind of took off from there. So if you find yourself I have no idea what I want out of this, that's okay. That is totally okay. You don't have to come in and set some big goals at all. I don't want anyone to ever feel like we have any expectations for your business. You are the CEO of your business. If you want to do this as a hobby, you want to do this as a discount, or you want to grow a business, a big business, anywhere in between. It's our job as your leaders to kind of help understand what your goals are so that we can help you reach those goals. So something also to know about this call is that there are going to be people who are brand new, just signed up yesterday, who have not gone through any training or anything. And there's going to be some of you who've been around for a few weeks. Maybe you've gone through some training. Maybe you've even run some challenge groups yourself. So, but everybody's a new coach. They wouldn't be, taking the time out of their evening at 9:30. So I do appreciate you guys accommodating the hour. I do like to keep it a little bit earlier. But I do have my church small group until 9 o'clock. So, and I wanted to get on this call with you. So I figured we'd go later. So, whether, wherever you're at in the business, you're still bright, you're all pretty new, and you wouldn't be here if you guys didn't still feel like you needed some support. So this is intended to be a question and answer call. So of course, I'm going to share some more things with you. A lot of it's already going to be in the training, but I know that once you're going through the training, it can be a little overwhelming. And even though you may have learned something once, or you may have done an assignment on something, a few days later, you're like, there's so much in your head. And so you kind of need clarification or reminders. And so that's what this is intended to be. We never want you to feel like you can't do this. It's extremely overwhelming when you're taking in all this new stuff. So we want to create this environment for you to feel like, wait a minute, I know you talked about Success Club, but can you explain it to me? So I want you to know it's okay to open up and ask questions. I muted the line for everybody, just to go ahead and speak, but I want you to feel comfortable, to pop in and unmute your line and say, hey, Megan, tell me about this, because I really don't know what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the conversation for that part first, because I'd rather answer your questions right now than assume that I know the kind of stuff that you want to hear from me. Does that make sense? So, because I could talk forever, just know that much. So don't let me. So feel free, if you have a question, to go ahead, and don't feel like it's stupid. There's no stupid questions. I still have questions about the business from time to time. So do not feel like any question, even if you're like, okay, I've been a coach for about a month and I should know this. It's okay. Go ahead and open it up. Anybody want to be like, hey, you might get a prize, because I like to give gifts. If you didn't know that already, if you go ahead and speak up, you might get a prize. Just saying. So anybody have any questions that you've been itching to know, dying to ask? Let's see, I have a bunch of numbers on here. I don't have all names. So I'll tell you this, if you have not gotten on a Getting Started Right call with your upline, that should be one of your first steps to make sure that you get on a call with your upline if you do want to move forward with this as a business, because that's how she knows. I say she, but there could be some, I don't know. Just that's how they'll know what you want out of this, so they'll know how to direct you, because if otherwise they might just assume and give you some direction. So if you haven't done that, definitely reach out to your upline so that they can know how to help you get what you want out of this. So that's one thing I do want everyone to do firsthand if they want to do something with this. And then get yourself latched onto a training, which we'll talk about in a second. So questions? I don't believe it. Let's see. No questions. Okay. Does everybody have a free challenge?
Hey, Megan, can you hear me?
Yes, Sarah. Hey.
Okay. Hey, I have a coach who, she's got some questions. She wasn't able to make it to the call, but I wanted to ask for her. And she's done a few free challenges, and she was just really, we've been talking about how to, what that process looks like to transfer, to take somebody from a free challenge and, get them in as a paid customer, so that she can really start getting her Shakeology paid for on a regular basis. And, I shared a little bit, some of my scripts and, things that I'll say, but I was wondering if maybe you could share, kind of what a typical conversation would look like between you and a 5-day challenger who could be a new customer.
Sure. That's a good question. So if you have not run your first free challenge, that is something to know that our team heavily uses. It's not necessarily something that Beachbody gives to us to do. That's not like their system or anything. But a lot of successful teams and successful coaches, they provide free environment. So we have found that is just a great way to take care of people, so that they know what you're about, that they know, if they can trust you, if if they know this support stuff, this accountability stuff, this actually works. People are surprised to know how better able they are to stay on track when they have a cheerleader, really. So and I have a 5-day system that I hand out to my coaches. It's available to anybody on the team. And it has an entire, verbatim kind of what I would say. Now, I change it up every time a little bit, just so it's not, scripted. But it gives you a guideline, kind of a framework for how to run it. So you have, an idea. And I've handed that out. And there is a script in there once you get to, Wednesday or Thursday of a 5-day group. But the important thing to know in those challenges before you get to a place that you're going to ask, offer that challenge group up to them, is that you want to be really have done the front end work of finding out what their goals are before they're even in your challenge. If this is a new person to you, it's important that you are reaching out to know, okay, what kind of goals do you have? What are your challenges? What have you done in the past that's worked? What hasn't worked? What kind of time you have? So that it's important to know that you can't just run a free group and think that you can invite someone at the end of it. There has to be some love that they have seen from you, that you've spent the time to get to know what they need, what their needs are. And then a check-in, so in that folder that I hand my new coaches for my 5-day system, it says, about Tuesday or Wednesday, you want to be checking in with them. You want to be seeing how they're doing. You want to see if they maybe have dropped off and you wouldn't know any better. So I think that's a good, just want to preface that, you want to make sure that is you're taking care of these people, that you're showing love. By Wednesday, I well, personally, I post on Thursday. I post in my group the challenge that I have coming up. For those of you who might be interested in continuing your fitness journey with me, I am hosting a 21-day challenge group, and I'll have a different theme for every month because I like to make it fun and different. And pretty much, here's what you're going to get. It's going to be a smaller environment. It's going to be more intimate coaching. You're going to have, it's going to be a tighter knit, like peer support group. Plus, you'll get all these meal plans up front because I provide some meal plans, and I give those to new coaches. So any of you have access to, our meal plans, because people like to know that they're going to get something kind of like in their hands right away, and they're going to order the challenge pack that might show up a week from now. But like when I say, here's some meal plans to get you started off right. So I say that, so I put a post up. I get a few responses. A few people already know they want to hear more. I might not get, everybody may not, and that's okay. I reach out to those people who've responded, but I still reach out to anybody who's been an active participant in that group and said, hey, I don't know if you saw my post, but I would love to invite you to my 21-day challenge. And I might link to the post and I say, does that sound like something that might benefit you? I like that question because the answer is always, well, yeah, like who wouldn't benefit from that kind of support and accountability and a wonderful, we know how effective the programs are. We know how effective Shakeology is. So that's a great question to ask, is does this sound like something that would benefit you rather than what do you think? Or let me know. And what do you think kind of works, but let me know what you think is a terrible question to ask, because you might not get a response. It's kind of like, it's kind of leaving it too open, and it's almost like a response is optional, And so I love that. Does that sound like something that might benefit you? Because the answer is, well, yeah, they might have objections. They might have questions. They might have concerns. And that's okay. We can talk about those. But I love that question because it opens up the conversation to hear, okay, yeah, but, how much is this going to cost me is often the question. Or, yeah, but, I have a lot of weight to lose, or yeah, but I like my workouts in the gym, or whatever. And so you get to know what it is that might be the concern, rather than here's something I'm offering. Let me know if you want to join me. That's just not really effective. You're going to get a lot of crickets on those. But you want to really, and here's what I like to do too, is I know that you said you struggle with nutrition, and this 21-day fix challenge pack that happens to be on sale really is a game changer for many people who struggle with nutrition. So when you go back to the goals they've already identified now, and then you kind of add that personal, here's how this might benefit your specific challenges that we mentioned. Does that sound like something you might, be interested in trying? And I think that, most people are gonna be like, well, yeah, I'd love to, but there's gonna be some questions, and then you move into that conversation. Does that help, Sarah? Sarah,
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I think she'll appreciate that, and so will a lot of other people. And it's good for me to hear too, because as coaches, even who have been around for a year and doing challenge groups every month, we get kind of stuck in our own wording, and just realize how refreshing it can be to switch it up and ask a question like that. Like you phrased, do you think that would benefit you? I haven't used that in a long time, and I think that would be a great addition to what I am talking to people about.
Agreed. I hear you. You kind of get stuck in the same thing that you're so used to doing. So it is nice to hear other coaches. I learn from my team all the time when they're doing something cool. I'm like, wow, that's really smart. I'm going to try that. So for sure. Thank you for asking that question. Does everybody have a free challenge already scheduled this month that is, starting training? If you don't have a free challenge, that's a non-negotiable for me. I don't have a month, that I don't have a free challenge. I don't have a month that I don't have a 21-day or 30-day challenge. I know that I'm going to get a brand new batch of referrals and people to work with when I get the free. And honestly, it's not just about getting the referrals. I truly want to be a team and a coach that is characterized by service. I think that sets you apart from being one of those MLMers online just trying to sell stuff. When people truly see that you desire to be of service and helpful, whether they're going to purchase from you or not, those are the people who are loyal and trust you because they recognize, oh, this person is consistently providing value month to month. This person is giving of themselves with nothing, expecting nothing in return. Sure, I'm going to ask these people to purchase from me, but I still want people to feel like, hey, no strings attached. I truly care about you and your goals. And I think it just comes back around. I think it comes back around when you just provide, free value. So free challenges are like a non-negotiable.
Megan, I'm going to brag on Becky and tell you that she ran a nice little small challenge for some very close coworkers last week, and it was perfect to get started. And I kind of did a similar thing. When I first got started, I didn't start straight out with a 5-day challenge that was a clean eating challenge. I started with something different, but she enjoyed it. She had a great group. They supported each other, and she opened up an invite to do another challenge next week, and she has killer responses coming in, and I am so excited for her. She's nervous because of the numbers, but maybe you have some tips on how to handle a bigger group. I've told her that I will certainly go into that group and help her kind of manage the numbers, but tips are always appreciated.
Yeah, Becky, I'll definitely share some tips, but that is something that Sarah brought up that I should mention is 5-day challenges work well for me. People kind of know that's what I do, so they work well for me. I don't want to assume that the 5-day challenge, everybody's, cup of tea. That might not be the demographic that you might not be, because know this, you have an individual, you have a niche and you have a brand and who you are, and you're going to attract people who are going to be specific to who you are and what you can offer. And so that might not be the 5-day clean eating challenges like I do, like specific menus. That could be something different. So I do want to kind of say that, you don't have to do the 5-day. It works well for me, and I have it all mapped out so well that my coach doesn't have to think much about it. But you can do a water challenge. You can do a plank challenge. You can do just a meal prep challenge. I do have resources for that. You can just do no junk food challenge. Here are the no's we're going to avoid all this week. No sugar, a sugar detox. So just know that it doesn't have to be 5-day. So Becky, how large is your group that you have coming up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, right now it's at 50, and there's a lot of people that haven't replied, but I can't believe it's at 50.
That's great. So. That's awesome. Something that I've done is the Google Forms to help collect information because I know that it's really hard to keep up with contact information. So I'll collect it all on that form, and then respond through email. I've just started doing that more. I'm using email because I can track, because your messages get a little out of control when you're running those groups and you're trying to message everybody to stay in touch with them. But I do kind of have a scripted check-in message. I do kind of it's scripted to some effect, but then I'll, if I know something more about the person, I'll make it more personal, but just kind of copy paste. Okay, I know this person's struggling with this. I don't know this person, so I'm just going to because they're new, so I'm just going to go with the, generic message. So you'll learn some efficiencies as your group grows. You'll learn oh my gosh, I'm going to have to compartmentalize this task today. The forms has been a big one. I'm trying to think of other ways that I've made it more efficient. Something that I do, and this may suit you, it may not, depending on your lifestyle. I generally do schedule all my posts in most of my challenge groups. If you don't know, there are several third-party tools that you can schedule your challenges. I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it all. You run all these challenge groups and social media. I'm like, I don't do it all. I schedule stuff. I'm not on Facebook all day. So there's buffer.com, hootsuite.com, postmyparty.com. There are several tools that you can use to schedule out your posts. Becky, you probably already know about those, but that is something that takes a lot of the mess out of it. However, I do try to, for certain things, especially free environments, tag in real time from my iPhone. If you have an iPhone, this works, because you can tag everybody in a group easily. and when you have a free environment, sometimes that is helpful, because if there's no investment, there's no like skin in the game, people are very likely to drop off and not participate. Do you know what I mean? So if I can tag them, then I know they'll get a notification that there's a post in the group. But this is just something that they joined on a whim because it was free, and their friend was like, hey, my friend's cool, you should try it. Okay, whatever, I'll join. And then then it's like some group they're in. So I try to tag if I can from my iPhone, because iPhones, I don't think you can do that from an Android. And I'm not going to do it all from the computer, because you would actually have to find every person's name. But the way that iPhone works is only the names that are in the group, you just tap, 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 and post. So that helps me to feel like I'm connecting with all the larger group numbers. Like I'm not going to be like messaging them each and every one every day, but at least I know that I can tag them and feel like there's that little connection.
Becky, one of the difficulties I've had in the past is, working full time. Obviously, we're a little bit limited in the time that we can spend in those groups sometimes. And when you're in there, you do want to really, want to give them positive feedback. So sometimes just kind of going through the motion of checking off who has checked in has been the most tedious for me. Megan has done in the past also using a Google form for the check-ins.
Yes.
So you can set it up so that everybody's in a Google form. And if you were in my 12 Days of Christmas group, I did that in my 12 Days of Christmas group. And then, or the other option for you, if you wanted to totally abuse any student aides that you have, you can set them to checking off names off of a list during the day.
That is a good point. Google Forms, okay, I know it might sound like, oh my gosh, they're getting all fancy and technological. I am not fancy or technological. I am so not. I've just learned a lot, like becoming a coach. The Google Forms, they're really easy if you go to Google Drive and start to mess around. It's not that complex. The beauty of it is, and if anybody, I know Katie, you've been in my 21 day, that's how my check-ins are, because there's too many numbers. I can't check and see who everybody's, I can't count to see who's checked in anymore. When I was a new coach, I actually did, I had like 5 people in a group. That was really easy. Or 3 people. I mean, that was easy to see who checked in, but like when it's a larger number, that Google form populates to a spreadsheet. So it's easy to be like, okay, that's where we're at the end of a week, or at the end of the, so that has taken out. But these are all things that over time you start to figure out what kind of makes you more efficient and more productive. But that's a good point, that Google form is very helpful. Something that we haven't, before I talk, I don't want to talk if someone has a question. Another question? Okay. So I will mention that if you have been on the team for more than a couple weeks, we have had a couple different training environments, and it depends on what team you're on. If you're under any of the Star Diamond coaches, let's see, I know Katie has her own new coach training, Katie Arhan, Andrew Stevens, Jen McNeil, Stephanie Marsilio, and I'm sure couple other Diamond level and above coaches have their own new coach training. If you're not under one of those coaches, then you might have been going through our new coach, the fast track module 1 self-paced training that has 10 assignments, and then it's all text, and then you move into the second module. I have started to streamline that process, and I am opening that group tomorrow. What I've done is I've taken all that content and compiled it into 10 days and added some video to clarify rather than all that text, because the text, I think people are looking at thinking this is a huge assignment, but really it's not as much as it seems. So you have a video from me, short videos, a minimal assignment. So this is a streamlined new coach training. I'm still in the midst of it. I haven't completed it, but I have 3 days already. So, anybody who's ready to be added, you can be added as early as tomorrow. It's still self-paced, but I'm keeping it within a small group in February. So I'm not keeping it open-ended long-term. I want to keep a small group together, because that large group was getting a little bit too large and a little bit too distracting because of the numbers. Because people were still in there that were new coaches like months ago. So what I want to do is make it more streamlined as far as the content that's delivered, in a much more digestible method. and keep it in a small environment so that people feel more connected and feel like they have better support and more accountability. And so it's not going to be like you have to do it on a certain day, but it is going to be within like your month of sign up, so that you kind of have people that you are, who join with. So you kind of feel like, okay, these are my people. We're kind of all in the same place, kind of all same struggles. And you can ask questions so you can feel comfortable there. So I'm going to, like I said, open that tomorrow. However, there are going to be some kind of like certain understandings before coming into that group because I'm streamlining it. There are certain things you'll have already done, like ideally getting on a Get It Started Right call with your coach, so that you can talk goals and pace, because some of it is going to just sound like, what is she talking about? If you don't kind of have a basic working knowledge of what the beginning, the foundation looks like. And that really is the business quick start that is in your Coach Online office. So if you go into your Coach Online office and you go up to get started, there's something called a business quick start. And basically just really understanding, having a working knowledge of what all those, I think it used to be called a 7-day quick start, but it really doesn't take 7 days. I'm not sure why they called it that. That's why I think they changed it to business quick start. But just kind of understanding all that's already available in your Coach Online office on that page, which I like to go over on a call with my coach, so that when they get into their training, all that housekeeping nonsense out of the way, we can just start to train on how do I run this business. So that would be the thing that we're missing if you just jump right in. You haven't actually done anything prior. I wouldn't want anyone to feel like, whoa, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's why I say, get with your coach and make sure that, you guys are on the, have a, like Success Club and Emerald Rank are like the biggest ones. And I think people, when you get to that, it's really like so foreign and vague. And so that's kind of a question you can go over, which we'll go over that. We can go over that real quick now, is the kind of the basics of Success Club and Emerald, because those are things you want to get to understand like pretty early on what they're all about. Otherwise you'll feel overwhelmed. Does anybody have any questions about that before I talk about Success Club? Yeah, go ahead, Chelsea.
I just wanted to comment before I forget. I'd really love it if you could add me to that group, because the whole training, I tried the self-pace. I tried a couple different times. You added me to, a certain paced group, and it was just always so overwhelming. And I've done a lot of, development like this. It's just digesting that material. So that's going to help me a lot. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. I'll add that to you. I'll add you tomorrow. I'll provide the link. I'll provide to all my new coaches, but yes, I haven't even opened it yet because I was going to try to finish it all before I added people, but the first 3 days are already done. But yeah, you're right. Some people, the self-paced, it works for a lot of people, but everybody consumes information differently and learns differently. And so I think that environment, like I know for me, I'm not kind of ADD. I'm actually clinically ADD. But I really struggle with that. So I get it. That it's not the best environment for everybody. So I want to provide something that is pretty manageable to look at and be like, okay, achievable. I got this. Like, it's not going to be like easy sailing to like learn this business, because yes, you have a business now. It's hard if you're trying to grow it. Like it is, you're learning something new. Like it's becoming I was not a business person. So yeah, I've had to kind of learn and get over some things and stumble and make some mistakes. So yeah, it's going to be hard, but like, I think looking at this training, I'm like, okay, I can handle this. Like I got a handle. So yeah, I'm excited to get that going. So I will be opening that tomorrow. Let me just put down, I know I'm going to forget all these names. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we have 10 minutes according to Zoom. Okay, so just quickly I want to talk about Success Club, because that is something that I think was kind of vague to me when I started, because I was so skeptical about the whole business thing. Like I really was not sure about network marketing. When I heard Success Club and then Success Club 5 and it was 5 points, I didn't like that sound. It made me think of a sales target. And I did not want to sell anything. So I was like, don't give me a sales target. I can't do sales. But when I really connected it to the helping people, okay, Success Club 5, what is it broken down to mean? Okay, 2 points you get for a challenge pack, which is a fitness program in Shakeology, or the club membership in Shakeology, or the 3-day refresh in Shakeology, which happens to be on sale this month, or the Club Performance Pack, which is the performance line product, 2 products. That's 2 points. So you get 2 points for those things, and then 1 point for Shakeology HD. Most people who are interested in Shakeology HD, I can really explain to them, you're really going to get a lot more value if you just get that 21-day Fix Challenge Pack. It's literally $11 more. You might as well get that because it's $60 on its own. So most of the time I don't even sell HD Shakeology, but so it's usually more like Success Club 6. But let's just say Success Club 5 is like the thing. Like that's what is a non-negotiable for any coach who is doing this to build a business. If you're a hobby coach, discount coach, that's not something you're concerned yourself with. But if you are trying to consistently help us, people each month, 3 people is a very realistic goal to do that. Sure, it can take some work, but we train you how to do that. We talk to you about how do you build your network. Okay, we're not doing home parties. You're not going to be mass messaging anybody. We don't do that. I don't train my team to do that. We don't do cold messaging. We don't go and annoy our friends and add them to groups they didn't ask to be added to. Do I sound a little bit, Yeah, I hate that. I hate it happening to me, so I don't encourage my team to do it. I hate being added to groups that I didn't ask to be added to. I love those products, but I'm do not do that because people don't like it. So we're going to train you how to make those new connections. We're going to train you how to find the people who need what we have to offer. The first month, it's probably going to be more like your warm market of your friends and your family who already know you and love you and trust that what you're doing is something that they would check out for you, or your people that you already have needs. So that's probably going to be your first month of Success Club. Generally, not everybody, but of course, corporate does make it a nice little offer to you if you earn Success Club in your first 3 calendar months. You get a free ticket to their Coach Summit in Nashville, which is a pretty daggone good time, right, Sarah? Yeah, Sarah had some fun. Just saying. We all had some fun.
Sarah had too much fun.
We had some fun. Summit is great. It's an amazing, it's just an amazing conference. You get to work out with celebrity trainers. You get some great training, a lot of fun with your team. So definitely, getting Success Club 5 and sure, ordering your free ticket's great. But really it's the momentum that is built from coming right in and saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help some people. I'm going to commit, make it a minimal goal to help at least 3 people get started on their fitness journey. So that Success Club, that will, when it's done consistently, grow a business that builds and builds and builds for sure. The people on our team that have the most success are those who hit Success Club consistently. Even if it's the minimum 5, it is those are the people who are the most successful coaches on this team. And then Emerald rank, which is, always weird for me, when it comes to rank advancements. Emerald just means you have 2 coaches under you on your right and your left leg. What does that mean? Well, you'll get to know how the whole binary compensation structure works. It's 2 legs rather than going out until you have all. But so you just need to have 2 people who've sponsored. That can be discount coaches. That can be your spouse. That can be your mom. It could be your best friend. It could be, my first one was my mother-in-law and one of my closest friends because they both wanted to try Shakeology and they were discount coaches. My next 2 was my husband and then a friend, Andrew, who actually did want to grow the business. But my first 3 people were just discount coaches. Why do you have the Emerald? Because it opens you up to getting free customer leads from Beachbody. And, you also get and it activates your ability to earn bonuses because that's where the actual income, the real income is beyond. Commissions are great, but 25% commission, we're not all gonna make a boatload of cash that way. But building a team is what does. And so when you hit Emerald is when you're able to earn bonuses. They call it team cycle bonus. So that's why Emerald is an important thing, goal to get to if you are trying to grow a business. And quite honestly, I know we all have friends and family who we want to give a discount to. That's what I did. My mother-in-law and my good friend. So those are kind of the basics of those 2 things. We have 4 minutes. Does anybody have any specific questions about those 2 things or anything, really, anything? Any of you scared on social media? Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a very like real concern that many new coaches have. I had it myself. I only used it for sharing my pictures of my kids. I was terribly shy, believe it or not, as much as I'm chatting at you guys now. So shy and just terribly afraid to be judged by other people on Facebook. Why do I care? I don't know, but I did. I care what they thought of me. I don't know. It's stupid. But I kind of was one of those coaches who slowly started to provide value day to day. I wasn't one of those who came right out and said, so I'm announcing my coach status now, come and join me. A lot of coaches do, and sometimes it can be effective if it's done really well, like especially if you have a great transformation. I strongly encourage you to, if you have a great transformation from the products. I didn't though. Like I had a great transformation over time of growing in my personally, like my personal journey of anxiety and depression, which was aided by my fitness, so I didn't have like a great physical, like here's what happened from A to Z when I did a 5-day but I think if you do have something like that to share, that's a very effective, way to announce your coaching. I just kind of started to provide more value. I started to talk more about what I was doing, like as far as like nutrition, I wasn't shoving in people's face, but people started to realize that I was somebody who was a constant presence of value, whether it was just inspiration or positivity or a nutritional meal or a funny joke or, that's what I started to do. And then I started to say, hey, like my friends and I are doing this 5-day group, who wants to join us? But what I strongly encourage my new coaches to do is, hey, you're going to start with the people around you. And here's the way to do it. Say, hey guys, I have loved this, what clean eating has done for me. And I want to help other people. Would you mind trying out this menu for me for 5 days? I want to kind of test it out on some people before I actually go and invite like other people. So I love that because it's asking your friends to do a favor. And of course you're gonna be like, sure, if I can lose weight for like, free menu. And if the worst thing that happens is I lose weight, then cool. Like, why not? So that's a great way to casually be like, and then of course I'm gonna be like, well, this was pretty cool. Like, let's do this again. And then like, hey, well, I'm gonna do a challenge. So I love that. It's reaching out to people that you want to say, could you try this out for me before I like put it out there? And that gives you some testimonials. That gives you some people who can say, this works. She lost 5 pounds or she lost this many inches or, so that gives you something that you can share, beyond that to give you some credibility as a new coach. We're going to have less than a minute, so it's going to cut me off. Any questions, like really quick? Really quick? Nobody wants to be cut off. Well, please feel free to message me. I may not get to you tonight because I promised my husband we're going to bed. I will get to you. So feel free to message me if you have any questions. And if you want to be added to the training, talk to your upline. I will absolutely make sure that you get in there. Thanks for being on tonight, guys. I thank you so much for spending the time with me tonight. I know this is valuable family time, so props to you for making the effort. So have a great night.